My fellow Americans, welcome back to the Not Just Politics podcast. Today is a special day. It's a historic day. Gavin, historians will dedicate hours, days, weeks even, to studying the footage of this show and figuring out what led us here. For the first time in over 2 years of doing this show and 70 episodes, I am flying solo. And if that doesn't terrify our listeners, if that doesn't fill you with some appropriate combination of horror and fear, then you're in for a ride. Producer Gavin and I are here in the Center for Media Innovation at Point Park University in the TV studio. Shout out to them. Thank you for the space. We appreciate it. Even though I'm really in the Oval Office. Or is it Point Park? Which one is it? I'll leave that for the people to decide. Anyway, we are going to just break down some news, some things that we've been talking about. Nothing crazy. Trump is back. The media is, every other article now is just the Doomsday Clock is at 10 seconds to midnight. It's like every other article is just that the apocalypse is here, that it was always here, that it's always been coming, that it is coming. And it's just, what's this NPR article? We're going to pull up media here so everyone can see what we're looking at. This NPR article is hilarious. And, again, we'll put this in there so everybody can see, but this is from NPR. This is out on January 29th. The Doomsday Clock has never been closer to metaphorical midnight. What does it mean? And it's just, and mind you, by the way, Gavin, as Gavin made a good point when we walked in here, he said, no one really cares about this, right? No one really cares about the Doomsday Clock. No one that you've ever met in your life is waking up worried about the Doomsday Clock. This is literally just the media. They're just fear-mongering people. Like, I understand having this as a cautionary tale of sorts for world leaders and scientists to keep their act together. I understand that. But whenever the media every 5 seconds is just rolling something out like this, and whenever this seems to only be based on U.S. politics.
It's the original doom scrolling.
It is the original doom scrolling. That's what this is. It's like, we're just doom scrolling. And I was talking to a reporter from the Globe and made a good point. He was like, it's only ever based on U.S. politics for some reason, right? We didn't hear anything about the Doomsday Clock whenever the Ukraine war broke out, whenever it was like,
I've always heard about it, like, ever since I've been, like, media aware. Like, it's always been a thing, but, like, every time it's, like, been brought up, like, I definitely heard about it, like, in, like, 2020 when COVID was happening.
Sure.
And, like, later on in 2022 when things were escalating in Ukraine, it was, like...
Oh, did they put one out?
I think so. Yeah, they put one out, like, every year, probably. Yeah.
Well, maybe I'm wrong then.
It's, like, a constant update.
Have they put out anything about well, I guess they did just put out this one, but it's like, and this is about a variety of things, but are they mentioning like the Middle East at all in any of that? Because I haven't seen anything about that either.
No, I think it's just like it's nothing general. It's just like, hey, we're close to like doomsday. Like, just, it's like not like anything specific.
It's just vibes.
Yeah,
I was talking about this in class.
It's literally just like it's literally the original doom scroll. It's like, hey guys, we're closer to war. We're closer to our extinction. It's like,
right.
Okay, cool. We're not going to tell you how or why. It's just, like, figure out yourselves. Like, take a look around, I guess.
Right.
Like,
we have like
take a look at yourself.
We have like a doom culture in a way. Like, we are obsessed to and also like look at all the shows that we have Yellowstone with like the super volcano going off and like all these
Is that what
shows about-
Yellowstone's about?
No, but there was a thing. I don't think that's about Yellowstone, but there are like been like movies about like the apocalypse of
Right.
Yellowstone exploding and all these shows about like nuclear Armageddon. We've been obsessed with our own destruction for a while. It's very odd. But now like the media is just rolling this out every 5 seconds now because Trump is back, and it's insane. It's like having people consume this 24/7 can't be healthy. Again, I listen, I'm not happy with everything that the guy's done in his first, week and a half in office. We're going to get into some of that. It's just too much. It's too much. And one of my problems with this is like people, the media doesn't like I don't think they know why nobody trusts them. It's like nobody takes them. They're like, why doesn't anybody take us seriously? And it's like, because it's like the Doomsday Clock, and we're gonna get into this, the Yahoo, the one from Yahoo about the staged photo of the ICE officers arresting the guy with the Latinos for Trump thing. And we're gonna, again, this will be on screen. Everybody was posting this. Like, this is getting posted and it's all over the place on Instagram. And it turns out that photo was staged.
I wasn't really aware of it. Like, I didn't even know what was going on. Like,
I saw a few people post it, and I saw it that was like having some traction, and then I looked it up, and according to Yahoo, this is not even a real. This is like a staged thing. How heinous is that? Like, this is what does this do? Like, I'm being dead serious. What does this do for the country? Who does this serve? Like,
no idea.
Does this not just make like race relations worse and feelings towards immigration worse? Like,
Well, yeah,
it's
it's probably just like something to divide us with. Like, that's what kind of like fuels media these days, is like division. Like, media is fueled on division, especially in news and politics and opinionated politics. It's very driven on division.
Yeah, it is. And we talked about that on the show last week with Andy Conti. It's
right.
Like the stuff that is, and he talked about that in his book, is like and it's not that this is anything new. It's not a surprise to anybody, but the incentive structures are all built for that. Like, that's what gets you popular. If you want what's really funny is that's also what is the media is in a real tough pickle.
What exactly happened? Like, what?
Let me get the article up again so we don't get any of this wrong. So it says, fact check: photo of ICE agents arresting man wearing Latinos for Trump shirt is fake. And this is from the article. A photo authentically shows U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement, or ICE agents, arresting a man wearing a Latinos for Trump 2024 shirt. A rumor circulating online in January of 2025 claimed a photo showed ICE agents arresting a man whose shirt displayed a logo reading Latinos for Trump 2024. Users shared the rumor in the first several days of President Donald Trump's second term in office as federal agents carried out new administration's mass deportation plans. So, and I don't know who.
So a guy wearing a shirt was arrested?
Yeah, but so it seems like this is not.
And wait, was he deported?
Oh, right. So what it seems is in the original photo, there's right. So here's the original photo. There's no Latinos for Trump in the original photo.
Okay.
So somebody photoshopped it.
So it's just a big con. The whole thing's just a con.
Yes. The whole thing.
So it's just a big mess of misinformation.
Yes.
The con.
Yes.
So okay.
And again, all you'll ever hear, and again, not to like call out anybody here, but like all you'll ever hear is about these right-wing podcaster bros on Instagram spreading misinformation, making people unsafe. These right-wing podcasters like Joe Rogan and the Not Just Politics podcast. No, they don't say that.
Yeah, we are
They don't say
actually
that
the
one.
most conservative voice on campus.
That's the hilarious thing, is that I am at this point, to my knowledge, probably the most conservative voice on this campus. And as Gavin and I talked about last week, being conservative at Point Park means that I just believe in the idea that we should have law enforcement.
Yeah, definitely.
It's
like,
literally just
that
like,
literally makes you a Nazi.
it makes you a right winger on this campus. It does. Like I tell people that I think that there should be
law and order.
that there should be some sort of
No, thank you.
Well, I just tell people that like maybe we need police like a little bit, and then that's like well, you know what I mean? It's funny like that's because that's all you ever hear. You know what I mean? On this campus is that these right-wing podcast bros own the corner on misinformation, but no one's going to talk about that, right? No one's going to talk about the CBS interview with Kamala Harris where they edited her answers to be something different than what she actually said. They're not going to talk about that. They're not gonna, make a parade. And not that I'm saying they should do this, but again, if they were just being ideologically consistent, they would have paraded George Stephanopoulos down the street and said, "We're done with you." They would have kicked him out. And, listen, maybe he got flack. I don't know. But like they paid out $15 million to the Trump administration. I don't even know if he's still on air. And that's maybe some research I should have done. But it's funny. It's like no one talks about that. Like no one in class ever brought up the fact that maybe George Stephanopoulos shouldn't have said that shit on ABC and have to pay out $15 million to the Trump campaign. So to act like the right-wing podcast bros own the corner on misinformation is just, it's always made me laugh because it's hilarious to me.
We're just the new kids on the block. We're just easy to pick on, Carson. You don't get that.
This is the biggest podcast in the world.
True.
We get 100 million
We're
listeners.
the new kids on the block, but we're also like top charts
Yeah.
on Spotify and
Yeah.
Apple Podcasts,
We-
YouTube.
We are. We just got off the phone with the CEO of Spotify. And what was the offer that they gave us?
I think it was like 20 billion.
20
billion.
It was $20 billion they offered us to be
But then-
exclusively on Spotify.
Yeah, but then we also have to commit like a ritual too.
They were going to
offer
make
our
us
souls, something like that. I don't know. I don't really read the fine details too much. So,
whenever you get a new app
yeah.
and there's a terms of service
Right.
and it's just so long and you can't
any
and you
form of
just
media, like any
scroll-
game
Yeah.
really has that.
and you just scroll to the bottom, you never read it.
Right.
We didn't read the fine print on the deal that they gave us.
Right.
So we're not exactly sure what the, barrier to entry would be, but it might be something like, I mean, what if they make me sacrifice our audio board?
No, it's
What if
definitely going to be
they-
way more than that. If it's $20 billion, it's definitely
But what if
taking
they-
of the soul, Carson.
But this is
Something. It's something that is like internal.
I'm Point Park's last straight white man with a podcast.
I mean, they already take the podcast. Like that's the thing. It's the 20. Like they get the rights to distribute our podcast
No, this
on
is
their
true.
platform.
Sorry,
It's
I need to-
their podcast.
I need to mark this. This wasn't in the.
Yeah, we're going off the rails.
We are going off the rails, but we didn't let anybody know about the Spotify deal. This is very exciting stuff.
Yeah, it's
But listen,
something we wanted to keep secret because
Yeah.
we knew people would be jealous.
it would make a lot of noise whenever we did.
It definitely would make a lot of noise on Point Park campus. Let's be real here.
I am, as I said before, I am Point Park's last straight white guy with a podcast.
Right.
This is a fact.
In the White House.
And I'm in the White House, which again, no one, is it one or the other? This is the question, have we been going to school in the Oval Office for the last 3 years?
No. I mean,
Okay. Are you sure about that? I'm saying, are the people sure about that? Are the people sure that the studio
I
they've
thought we
seen-
just got here though because we just got our press passes
we
from
did
the White
just-
House. That's why we're here.
That was brilliant. The White House, because this is great, Trump was like all about banning TikTok in like 2017, 2018. He was all about it. He was like, this is Chinese spyware. We got to get it out. It's done. And then he gets TikTok and he starts posting hype edits and shit post type stuff. And he's got these like Gen Z interns probably that are just cooking up this stuff in the back room. And then he wins, and about face, he suspends the TikTok ban for 75 days? I think is what they said.
Well, it hasn't been banned for 75 days yet. Like, it's been banned for like 24 hours, not even.
Well, that's what I mean. Trump suspended the ban.
Right. I don't know.
Days.
It's kind of weird. So like, yeah, he probably did do that. I'm not too caught up on all that, all the fine details, but like, I know that there was a deal that he had. That's probably the deal, and then there was something with the Biden administration too. Like they for the longest time they wanted TikTok to be banned, and then right at the last second, like the last day in the White House, they were like, we're going to ease up on this. We're not going to enforce this ban.
Right.
But I don't know what Congress is going to do, or the the courts are going to do. Like, I don't know how that's all going to play out.
How hilarious would it be if Trump comes back to save? Well, he wants that, though. He wants to be the guy that saved TikTok, because not all the kids that love TikTok remember him as the president.
Right. Well, yeah, a lot of his Gen Z vote comes from TikTok.
Yeah, right.
And yeah.
So he loves it now. So anyway, he loves it now. And he goes on all these podcasts. If you look at the total views of all the podcasts that him and Vance did, it was they both did this past weekend with Theo Vaughn. They both went on Rogan.
Yeah, he went on a whole podcast.
Yeah, Trump did Flagrant. He did Vance did the Tim Dillon show. They did the whole comedian podcast tour thing. And I think the Free Press reported on this at some point. And I'll mark that so we can put that in, because I'll pull up the thing just because I was curious to see. Like, I think it totaled to 250 million views between all of those podcasts. I'm sure it's at more by now.
Yeah.
And
definitely.
So now Trump is kind of a new media guy. He's like this new media fan. He kind of was, I guess, to a certain extent, like utilizing social media.
I mean,
he got fully into the podcast
in 2015, leading up to his first term. I think he really gained traction. Like, a lot of people laughed him off the first time. Like, let's like look back at this. Like, he definitely used independent media his first time around.
Definitely.
So,
yeah.
I think
he didn't do as much podcast. He didn't do really.
He definitely didn't do podcasts
or TikTok.
I think independent media talking about him, like giving him that kind of like spotlight, definitely helped him out a lot.
It absolutely did. And so now, and I honestly, I think this is kind of hilarious. I'm kind of support this move. The White House is now giving out press passes to independent journalists.
Yeah, the one we have.
Influencers, podcasts, and we did apply.
That's, again.
We're going to,
I mean, we're already in the White House. We already got our press.
We're already in the White House.
As soon as we applied, they were like, they sent us our plane tickets to DC.
Yeah.
We're here. Like,
yeah, this is true. And we are here. And so we are now. And so what I love about this, honestly, is that the mainstream, which is just, I mean, some, like there are pockets of journalism that all they have left is just this elitist, like,
yeah, this like authentic, like they are official people.
Yeah, and it's like, it's condescending.
People who you can rely on.
Yeah, yes. And they talk about new media in this very kind of like this sort of this like undertone of like condescending, like tone of voice. That wasn't a sentence, but it's just annoying. Like, they're just annoying. Like, that's the only way I can really describe them. I like all of them as people. Like I genuinely I enjoy their company. I enjoy talking to them. Some of them have been on this show, but it's this weird. I just don't get it. I like these people. I respect them, and I'm just like, I don't get why this mentality is still prevailing. Like, yes, new media has its problems, like misinformation, all this stuff. Those are problems.
People are always like, when I used to watch a lot of like non-independent media, like just like legacy media, like
Yeah.
I would just always attribute it to like, this is official. Like they know their shit. They know what, like they have standards.
Right.
They have a very streamlined way of delivering news to you. Like to package it up, make it look nice, and present it.
Yeah.
And for the longest time, independent media didn't really have a chance. Maybe like local radio
Sure.
for the longest time, but then now it's like everyone can, like, you can shoot a podcast on your iPhone, like,
Yeah. No, you could genuinely do the
and get
entire thing.
like millions of views. Like it's crazy.
Yeah, if you're good, you'll get not as good as us. You won't get as many views as we will. However,
You won't get a press pass.
you won't.
within
You will not.
hours of announcement.
We didn't even. They sent it to us.
Yeah.
We didn't even apply. We said that we applied. That was a lie.
well, no, we did apply, but by the time we applied, it was already like in
Yeah.
our mailbox. Like,
Yeah. It was pretty. Well, it was in an inbox. Oh, no, it is an actual thing though. It is an actual.
yeah, it's like a
pass.
yeah, something that, and they also gave us something we can hang up on the wall too. It's just like official, kind of like
Right. That we are journalists.
we are official.
We are official journalists, and that's and that's gonna make people. That's gonna make people here just their stomachs will turn. I don't even know if that's a statement, but and listen, some of it will be correct, and I don't know if all of it will be, but I am very excited to see the Costco family in the press room asking. What's the new press? What's the press secretary's name? I forget her name. It's a different woman than it was last time.
No idea.
But I hope that the Costco family like brings her a chicken bake, and asks her to rate it on the boom meter. Again, listen.
It's brain rot.
All respect. Genuinely, the fact that Andy Conti would not be terrified by the Costco family.
Right.
If we bring him back in here and we show him the Costco family and he maintains the inspired feeling.
He would be like Jimmy Fallon. Like he would literally just react the same way as Jimmy Fallon. Like he would give that off. Like
I would hope.
if we had a show, like if we were hosting the show right now, and then over here on the couches we had the Costco family, right?
Yeah.
They were here, and
It's okay, you got it. Yeah. If he was
Okay.
here next to the Costco family, it would be.
if he was here, he would be like Jimmy Fallon. Like he would give off that.
Yeah, exactly. Like that was my favorite thing ever, was that Fallon was so over it.
Right.
Fallon was not having it at all when those guys went on. But so this is interesting. And I don't know what this means for the media landscape. I don't know what this means for news in this country, genuinely. But if somebody like, the folks from Breaking Points, or if like Jimmy Dore, or if Kyle Kalinske or Glenn
Yeah, I definitely
Greenwald-
see some more like main, like I don't know, like this is probably like a backhanded comment, and it's not intended to be, but
Sure.
like more mainstream independent media.
Sure.
If that makes any sense. Like
Yeah, like
you know
the
how
ones that
like
have
Tame
got-
Impala's independent music, but it's like he's not, like he has millions and millions
Yeah,
of
right.
followers.
It's a big
and,
thing.
like, It's a bigger thing, but
It would be exciting to see like Matt Taibbi. for
yeah,
example,
like
be
these
able to
people
get
who
into
are
the press.
professional independent podcasters and like media, like
Yeah.
professional independent media platforms. I definitely see them getting a shot
I hope
in joining us. Like,
in joining us there. Yeah, that would be really great to see them there, because they are fans of the show. But that's gonna be interesting to see. It's gonna make a lot of people, I think, very unhappy. I don't know. Does this make the misinformation problem better or worse?
in what sense?
I don't know. Like, you just know that they're going to they're going to give press passes to some people that should probably get the press passes, right? Like
Right.
the Glenn Greenwald.
Well, yeah, obviously, like,
but you know that like somebody's
obviously,
uncle,
like CNN and like all the main staples, like the top 3 are gonna be there. But I think because it's a big room, like
it's a big room.
if you remember, Carson, when we saw the room,
yeah, this is what I
seemed
mean though. Like,
pretty decent. You could probably fit like 50 people in there, and like one person representing a platform. It's like 50 different platforms right there.
no, right, but this is what I mean is like, but you know they're gonna give it to somebody from like 4chan, and it's just like, oh, this is
Well, like one person. I like obviously, yeah. Like I could see that happening, but I don't like. I'm not a 4chaner. Like
neither am I.
Like if you look at me, like you'd think I'd be on 4chan like 24/7.
I looked at myself the other day and I was like, I get why people think you voted for Trump.
Right. Yeah. Mr. Trump, I know you're watching this.
He does listen to the show.
I just want to say that I'm not your biggest fan, but I just want to thank you for the press passes. Like, it really means a lot.
Yeah.
Like, I know that we come from Point Park. Like, we love our university, but it's kind of not your style.
We get that it's not your style, President Trump. We get that compared to you, we're very liberal. We're very liberal guys. But that's okay. Because you give us press passes. We'll be in the White House now. We'll be having fun. Wow. Amazing, huh? The Hawk Tuah girl just in the press pass. Can you imagine if some of these TikTokers...
Well, she was the other one, too. Like, she also got one, like, immediately. Like, she didn't even have to ask for one. She's like,
no.
She's literally in the next room over. Like, it's kind of wild.
And you know that at some point we're going to see a video come out of a TikToker that somehow, because you know what's going to happen because of this, right? You know what's going to happen is if this gets normalized, then what's going to happen is every 4 years, whenever this giant oscillating swing of left and right, just every 4 years, left, right, every 4 years, there's going to be a new crop of independent journalists that are given access to these platforms. And during election time, whenever they were bringing these TikTokers to the White House to like debrief them, now they'll just let them into the press room. So you know some TikToker is going to be like, so where is the Ukraine?
They already did. They already did. Joe Biden, he brought TikTokers.
No, I'm not saying he did something, but I don't think they were in the press room. I think they had like a meeting with like the Biden's team, and it was like a debriefing thing. One of them was like a Zoom call. Now they're just going to let them right in the press room, and these TikTokers are going to be like, so where is Ukraine? What is?
Hey, at least they're asking the question.
Fair.
They're asking the question.
You know
they're
what?
Not throwing out misinformation immediately.
You know what? That's a very good point.
I think the 4chaner would. Like,
he's
gonna be back there like spinning out conspiracy theories left and right. He's gonna be like, so President Trump said that Martians are real, right?
Right. He would be like the guy.
Like he said on Joe Rogan's podcast that he would look into these aliens, right?
Right. It would be like, and that guy from 4chan is like every person you've ever met in your life at this point. It's just everybody's like,
he's just your uncle at this point.
He's just your conservative uncle, and he's like, President Trump said yesterday that the Ukraine is being taken over by interdimensional lizard people. Like, he'll fly off with something like that, or no, he'll do like the contrails with the plane. It'll be some of it will absolutely be a train wreck. For sure.
Oh yeah, it's definitely.
But hopefully, the idea is that some questions get answered and the American people get some news coverage that is not so based in like sensationalism, and that would be nice to have that.
Yeah.
Let's pull this up for the people. Let's talk about this. This will be fun. Some exciting news from Point Park University. Let's look at this right now. And we'll play this for the people. I'm going to mark that. And this is what you're watching here is footage. So there used to be a pool in the basement of the student center. There used to be a pool, and now there is not a pool. There was the Career Readiness Center, but they've made this sort of about face, this, because the 2030 plan is happening, and they're trying to expand the university. They've made this move into D2 for athletics, and they're trying to expand and make Point Park this sort of center, this hub for live entertainment in downtown. President Brusalis spoke about this on the show a couple of weeks ago. You can go listen to that to hear some of what he was talking about, buying new buildings, that kind of thing. As it turns out, this Career Readiness Center was sort of, just as it had been finished, was scrapped, and nobody really knew why. And it was revealed that they are bringing the swimming team back to Point Park University by putting a new pool in the basement, and we'll play this right now. So you can see it.
Student Center basement, also known as the Professional Career Readiness Center.
This is a really exciting thing because they're bringing back the pool to Point Park, and students are going to be able to use it. It's going to be a recreational space. It's going to be, again, a part of that sort of athletic expansion. Students are going to be able to apply next semester for this thing. Exciting stuff. We have a pool again. And Gavin, what do you have any thoughts on this, sir?
As well as meetings, interviews, and events.
Hopefully,
from the Career Readiness Center, I'm Colin Winder, reporting for UV Television and The Globe.
What'd you say? The swim team? The swim team's back?
Yeah, the swim team is coming back. You can see the footage right here. They're filling the basement of the student center up with water again, so people can go for a swim.
Well, I hope we get better facilities then. I just hope that we get some more money for this.
It would be nice, right?
Definitely would be nice.
Maybe some money for some floaties.
Yeah.
Some pool noodles. Maybe some
definitely turn it it definitely has the opportunity for a rec space on campus too.
Absolutely
get some students down there for a good time, a campus event,
Yeah,
campus pool event.
Yeah, and that was reported in the Globe on January 29th, I believe. 2025 is when that was reported on, just 2 days ago. And so I went down there, and it looks like it's coming along very nicely. They're installing a pool, and I wonder how the students are going to feel about this.
I mean, when they got rid of it originally, when it was just taking up space, when it was one of those backroom areas, when it was originally here, I know a lot of students wish that there was a pool. So now there is a pool again. So I think students would be very, very happy with this return.
And do you think that on the, the swim caps, they wear the swim caps? Do you think we would have bison horns, perhaps, on the side of our...
Well, I think that's the whole thing with the caps is to, reduce,
speed. Yeah, well, no, I don't mean
it's
physical.
To increase speed, but...
Yeah, it is. But I mean just, printed on the side of this. Not, actual horns.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Printed.
Oh, yeah, definitely, printed on. Yeah, definitely. Definitely for looks.
Yes.
Sure.
Purely a visual, logo on the side of the football helmet type thing. I think that would be really great to have that. And
yeah, that could be swag for sure.
I think so. And I think, I hope that the students come out and watch a couple of those, and maybe we can even get Black Diamond, the bison. Maybe we can even get Black Diamond.
Oh yeah, definitely. We could definitely get Black Diamond down there.
For maybe for an event, maybe he could, is there an equivalent they throw the first pitch out at a baseball game? That's really the only sport that has a thing like that. Swimming doesn't really could Black Diamond do an inaugural belly flop?
I mean, a flare to signal the start of the race.
Sure. Oh, that would be fun. What would it be? Hit the belly flop. When he hits the water?
No, I mean an actual flare. We're setting off a flare gun.
Oh, right, in the basement of the student center.
Yes.
But what's interesting about that is that the ceilings wouldn't look that much worse.
True.
And so that's just some and listen, we want to keep, listen, if this turns out good, if people end up seeing this, we might end up, we're not sure how frequently we're going to do this because we still like having guests. We still want to bring people on and sort of do the thing we've always been doing. But at the same time, we think every once in a while doing one of these could be fun if we have things we want to talk about. However, we just want to keep the people updated on local news, every once in a while on Point Park News. And I think this is an exciting thing, and people say things don't change around here.
Oh, yeah, no, things are constantly changing.
And people say things don't change.
I mean...
Advising sheets change. Credit counts change.
I mean, okay, to be frank, let's be frank here.
Sure.
Let's be a guy named Frank. So I'm a guy named Frank, and
Sure.
I say that Point Park never changes because it's always consistent in being mid.
And that was from Frank.
That was from Frank.
To be clear, that was not from Gavin.
Yeah, that's not from me.
That was
from Frank.
That was from Frank. So anyway, what else is happening? RFK Jr. is being confirmed in the Senate. That's happened.
Yeah, I think a bunch of the people like Tulsi Gabbard and RFK
were being confirmed,
Yeah.
and Elizabeth Warren and Bernie were yelling at them.
Yeah, basically. It was kind of crazy, like
It was insane.
people like Elizabeth Warren like saying, what was she saying? Like, would you like take money from these institutions, or would you?
I don't know if
Because I know
remember
I've heard that she takes money from these institutions. Like, I
from
think
what institution?
Pfizer and like
From the pharma
from
companies.
from Big Pharma.
I'm sure that some of them do. I don't remember as much of the one with Elizabeth Warren. I just remember first of all, did you see the Pete Hegseth hearing
No, I did not.
for whatever he's going to be, Secretary of Defense, I guess.
No, but I can only imagine how that.
It was absolutely insane. You know that it's here's the thing, like, and this is something that I don't understand. Whenever I bring up polarization around here,
Right.
and people at Point Park kind of don't really like. Some people acknowledge it, and some people have engaged with us, and that's great. But like, there's still this large portion that's like, is it really?
I feel like
that
they know what it
much?
is, but like they're just ignoring it.
It's not
because
a problem.
It's not beneficial for their
Exactly.
personal agenda.
No, it's not. It's kind of this uncomfortable thing, and to them, it's not really a problem.
Right.
That there is no
Because
representation of any conservative voice on campus anywhere.
yeah, people tend to like group themselves with people around them that are very like-minded.
And what were we bringing that back to? And I'm lost. Not lost, but no, here's the thing. With the polarization thing, this is how you know it's bad. You know it's real bad whenever you get into a Senate hearing like that for Pete Hegseth, and you can immediately tell who the Republicans are and who the Democrats are.
Right.
That's how you know it's a problem. Whenever nobody can ask any objective questions, whenever everything has to be good, bad, black, white, good, evil, it's crazy. Like, that's how you know it's a problem.
Yeah. I mean, there's just a lot of politicians in general, like left or right, like Republican or Democrat. It's like there's just like this Karen vibe in
Yes.
politics. No matter
Yes.
what side you're on, it's like what side is right, and like they will like go full Karen on like their beliefs, and I don't think that's a healthy thing to be in politics. Like that's not healthy dialogue. That's not a healthy society when Congress is yelling at these people who are being appointed. Like, no matter like if it was like a Democrat sitting there and someone who is like being shelled out by an oil tycoon,
Right,
like,
or like
let's flip it. If it was
Sure.
like a Republican senator who is like getting funded by who's like a big oil company, just big
ExxonMobil.
like Exxon. So like they're getting bought out by Exxon, but they're persecuting someone who is like going for the Department of Health or like the Environmental Protection Agency. Like this,
Sure.
like this is just a scenario here, but like it could be a Democrat that's sitting there and they're like, no, like I'm not going to take money from this. I'm going to like represent the people first and all this other stuff. But like it's just no matter what side you're on, it's always going to happen.
They're birds of the same feather.
Yeah.
They are. I mean, when people say, listen, people roll their eyes at two wings of the same bird. People roll their eyes at that, but they're not wrong. People like to roll their eyes at the conventional wisdom and that kind of stuff. People like to roll their eyes at that, but are those people wrong? Like, when you really look into, and this is also not on the agenda, but I need to get into this real quick because I haven't done this in a while. But this is the thing that bugs me. Whenever this whole campaign happens, whenever this election happens, whenever Trump is standing at the inauguration, what drives me crazy is that the media is still hyper fixated on this culture war, which when you really look into what the culture war is, it is this carefully selected package of ideas that are presented to the American people, again, in this very good or evil, left versus right kind of way. When you look into most of what those issues are, at the end of the day, both parties benefit from people fighting about this. Both parties would benefit from the solution not happening. When you look into all of that, and then you realize there's a reason why nobody's on that stage talking about healthcare or health insurance. Nobody's talking about, again, except for very few people like Bernie, to his credit, talking about the pharma companies and the price of drugs. All of those people, you're not going to hear any of that stuff. You're not going to hear about the fact that the country that spends more money on healthcare than any other country in the world has like the 42nd healthiest population of people. You're going to hear about trans bathrooms all day. And again, I'm not saying that's not an issue that should be discussed, but at the end of the day, you're not going to hear about all these things that multinational corporations are able to do in the media space, in the tech space, in all these spaces, just running rampant right now because the government hasn't broken up any of these industries. You're not hearing any of that stuff. You're not hearing about the massive upward transfers of wealth that happened during COVID, that happened during 2008. You don't hear about any of that stuff. And that's why I don't buy this left-right bullshit anymore. I don't believe it is professional wrestling to me. There's a reason why the Republicans don't. And again, I don't know who needs to hear this, but Donald Trump is not going to fix the border in the same way that Joe Biden did not codify Roe v. Wade into law. Because if they did either one of those things, they would lose a significant portion of their campaigning in the next election.
Do you think this country is too far for something like the Forward Party to ever happen? Something like the Forward Party, from what I'm currently aware of, is they run both Republican and Democrats and even third party options as well.
They started running their own candidates,
and then
too,
they
point.
do that as well. But I feel
I'm not sure that was a good idea or not.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't know. I think
just bring politicians together, no matter what their beliefs are. Just having them kind of have the same idea of working together and working across aisles, no matter what your beliefs are. That's that's how this whole thing works. That's how society works. Unfortunately, I hate to tell people, but people coming together is how societies work.
Yeah, right. No, exactly. Right. That's again, one of the things that makes me at least a right winger on this campus is the idea that one single ideology should not rule or run the country, that maybe that's not the best idea. But yeah, I mean, listen, I think at the local level, I don't think the country is too far gone for the Ford Party. I think at the local levels where all this accomplishment.
From what I've heard, yeah, they do decent.
That's the focus. And at the national level, the system is too far gone until the media incentives that push that kind of behavior stop.
Yeah, you definitely need to see more congressmen and senators in Washington from states that are affiliated with the Forward Party. We definitely need to see more of that happening.
I would like to see more of that happening.
I know that. Again, I know that. I'll come out and say that anytime I saw the Forward Party on the ballot, I voted for that. I always supported.
Yeah, I like the platform, and we're not really volunteering for them anymore.
No,
not really. We've kind of been out of that, but it's still something that
I definitely still support the idea of
the
Forward Party.
Yeah,
I mean, I definitely think politics is important. Everyone should have a general knowledge of politics, but what is general knowledge? Is it
it's a good question.
a whole I think people like a certain literacy, like a politics literacy, where it's not you're taught not to like really dominate yourself into one category,
Sure.
like one idea.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I mean, it's like it's the same. I think it's honestly it's kind of a similar thing, and people got to go with me on this. This might not be immediately obvious, but one of the problems with media literacy courses is they seem unwilling to admit to the past faults of these legacy sources that I am told are credible. Like people at Point Park say that AP is credible. AP. Right. Now listen, they might be for some of their stuff.
But let's be real. Who doesn't goof? Like if you don't make a goof, you're not human.
And that's a fair point. But what kind of a goof is, hey, what if we used AI to smooth over Joe Biden's, and you can't find this article anymore because they took it down, but it was a real article. I wonder if like someone took a screenshot of the headline, but it was like, what if we used AI to smooth over Joe Biden's gaffes and his obvious mental decline in order to convince the American people that he might be a good candidate to run in 2024. That was a headline, and if we can find it, I'll give it. We'll throw it in there. I'll mark it so that we can throw it in there because it's a fucking insane headline. And listen, you're right. Like, there's going to be goofs. I'm not saying that these sources have to be perfect, but I mean, whenever that's your headline, whenever someone says send, like whenever someone hits publish on that headline, using AI to lie to the American people to convince them, and this is a great fucking point that Claire Ashcraft made in one of her Substack articles, which is that how many norms and how many rules were completely ignored or overturned in order to save democracy from Donald Trump. The Democratic Party literally abandoned the democratic process in their own primary in order to apparently save democracy itself from Trump. And I'm not saying that Trump might not try to do, he's probably going to try to do some crazy shit. And I'm probably going to disagree with most of it. But this idea that, like, again, that the Democrats are the bulwark of democracy is just hilarious to me. It's hilarious.
Yeah, it's literally, like, that's what kind of, like, really threw me off with the Democrats this previous election was, like, that, like, rush to fill the gap of Joe Biden. Like, as someone who, like, supported Joe Biden, like, who, like, when he first ran, he gave off that, like, moderate grandpa vibe, right?
Yeah.
I like that, right? That moderate, like, a little
moderate Democrat.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah,
classical. Well, Joe Biden's not a classical liberal. I mean, he sort of is in some ways,
right.
I guess. I mean, he's a career politician.
I wasn't really informed with his, like, you know, like, past career.
Sure.
Too much. Like, I wasn't really informed well on his previous, like, running as a senator, a congressman, and
sure.
whatnot. So, but yeah, no, to like quickly fill that gap though, like, I didn't support Kamala Harris originally. Like, she never really came off as a strong candidate in 2020. Like,
no. And
I was just kind of like okay with her VP pick. I'm like, whatever. Like, yeah, the VP's there and it's cool, whatever. Like, I'm not angry at this pick, but then have her fill the gap and, like, quickly, like, there was no primary.
No.
There was no primary system at all, and that was the biggest issue. Like, there was a chance, there was a few months before they kicked Joe Biden out. It was only because they wanted him to fail in that first. Well, maybe not him to fail, but they wanted to test to see how good he would
orchestrated. Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if it's that deep. Like, I'm never informed about anything. Like, I like to seem like I'm informed about, like, a lot of things, but I'm not. Like, I'm definitely not. I'm pulling a Joe Rogan here.
Right.
I'm trying to be careful on my riffs.
Right. Yeah.
But like, I don't want to just seem like a lunatic here.
Sure.
But, like, as a general person who has general knowledge about politics, I am not a politician. I don't claim to know anything about politics.
Right.
Even though this is the show called Not Just Politics.
Well, not just.
Not just. I'm the not just part of Not Just Politics.
Correct.
But anyways, yeah, it's just like the rush to fill the gap, and there's no primary. They had months, like they had a few months beforehand when that window when RFK Jr. was running. Like, I get a lot of people don't like RFK Jr. He's very controversial when it comes to vaccines, and I get that. But you could have ran anyone. You could have ran anyone you wanted. You could have run Kamala Harris in the primary if you really wanted to, and she would have lost.
Right, and they kicked out their most popular candidate, which was Bernie. Right.
Right.
I mean, most popular, I guess, I shouldn't say most popular. I should say they kicked out the guy that had probably the greatest chance of coalition building.
I think where they screwed up is not like they should have had someone ready like by primaries. Like I feel like they waited too long with Joe Biden. Like,
yeah, well, they tried, and as Jeremiah Cartwright said, he ran as a one-term president originally, and then he was going for a second one, and people were, I guess, were not like happy with that. A lot of the donors were like starting to freeze money and stuff, and then they just kind of like threatened to invoke the 25th on him if he didn't get out.
Yeah, because you literally have the president on live television falling over on his bicycle, falling down a flight of stairs to Air Force One. Like,
Theo Von had a great point. Who the fuck put him on that bike?
Also, like, I get it too. Like, he has a speech impediment and he's always suffered from that. I get that. Like, I always kind of like have difficulty speaking as well, but like that's not like this dude clearly had dementia, like some form of like just being old syndrome, like boomer syndrome, just getting old.
He's older than Boomer. I think he's the one above Boomer.
Makes sense. But
greatest generation.
Okay.
Yeah.
Even then, like just hitting, how old is he? Like 82, 83?
He's older than 83. I think he's 84.
Yeah, he's in his 80s.
He's old.
So is Trump.
Like, yeah, no, they're both. Like, I love that, by the way. Everybody's like, Trump is clearly.
But Trump doesn't have that energy, though. Like, Trump doesn't.
No.
Like, some old people I see are just like, they just have that energy. Like, they just have that, like, I'm a rock star energy.
Right.
Like Ozzy Osbourne has that energy. Like,
yes, absolutely. Mick Jagger has that.
Yeah, like all these like old rocks. He has an old like. I'm not saying he's a rock star. Okay, Trump's definitely not a rock star.
But he's an old reality TV star. That's what he is.
Yeah,
he's got that
like,
it factor.
Yeah,
undoubtedly.
And that's what a lot of people like about him. That's what his base likes about him. They like that he's that I take no bullshit.
He takes no bullshit. He has no filter. And again, something that amazing the media something the media still hasn't realized is when you put the guy on the ropes, he's unbeatable. Like if you corner him, that's the worst mistake. And that's why I'm a little bothered here by the articles every 5 seconds.
Well,
if you look up
again, like,
and I get why. Like I get that
people aren't giving him the attention that he got when he won in 2016. Like, sure, they are brushing it. They're not like, I mean, you got Selena Gomez crying about people being deported, but like,
oh sure,
you don't got people in the streets like screaming and crying and like.
No, that's true, but I mean in terms of what the media is putting out, like the articles they're putting out, and I get that.
Oh, the reaction. I'm saying the reaction.
Oh,
to
right.
It.
That's no, absolutely. The reaction definitely was different. That was different, but like and I get that he's in office and there's newsworthy things, so I get that like there's gonna be a lot of articles about him, but it's amazing. It's like there's nothing else happening in this country.
Right.
If you go to the national sources, like there's nothing else. Like you just go to news and it's like every.
Well, also LA's on fire, so LA's on fire. Donald Trump's in office.
Right.
2025 is great.
Right, but again, coverage of the LA wildfires is like, again, I wouldn't have known they were still going if I hadn't looked into it. I would have thought they were over by now.
True.
The coverage is gone. Like I haven't seen any coverage on it in a while. It's everything I see now is
Well,
Trump.
it's also algorithm based. Like you're
That's
not
true.
in California. It's not really affecting you. But someone who is
saw a
in
ton.
class following the Grammys for my music media class,
Yeah.
following the Grammys, they're doing this whole like relief aid concert for the victims. Like it's maybe I think the fires are still there, but they're not as extreme. I could be wrong. Like I could be totally wrong about that. Like I should be fact checking this, but I'm not. I don't. I'll take a.
Mark Zuckerberg.
I'm taking a stance on fact checking. I don't care.
Mark Zuckerberg told us fact checking doesn't matter anymore.
True.
Mark Zuckerberg said they're not doing it.
According to this fact check here that is sponsored by Coca-Cola Company, sugar is not bad for you.
Right. According to this study from our Mr. Robert F. Kennedy Jr. You have these claims of yours are unfounded. Listen here. Sit down. You're looking at the wrong studies about the poison in our food. This is the one you really need to look at. This is a study conducted by
Kellogg.
By Kellogg and the good people at Nestle. It's a collab. We're collabing.
Nestle says the water's fine, by the way.
Nestle, that one guy at Nestle was like, water isn't a human. I don't think water is a human right. Like they're just wild over there.
Oh yeah.
And they put out a study. Kellogg put out a study that said that what's one of their things? Is Lucky Charms Kellogg?
Well, yeah, it has to be like
right because there's Lucky Charm and there's General Mill and then there's one other. There's like 3 big cereal companies.
It literally at any industry, there's the big 3.
The big 3, right? Mr. RFK Jr., you're looking at the wrong studies. This is a comprehensive set of studies done by the good people at Kellogg and Nestle, and they've come to the conclusion that Lucky Charms and that chocolate milk powder that you put
a
in
balanced breakfast.
It's actually they recommend mixing them because the poison that's in the chocolate milk powder and the poison in the Lucky Charms mix together to make this really nice concoction that takes 20 years off your lifespan if you eat enough of it.
It's a balanced breakfast, though.
It's a
certified balanced breakfast.
There is a perfect amount of each poison in both items. It's perfectly balanced for a chemical reaction that will leave you fucked.
Well, yeah, you see, so the food dye that makes it super bright for children when they see it on the shelves, they're like, "Oh my gosh, Mom, this is super bright. Can we buy it?
Can I have Lucky Charms?
Buy it?" It's like it hits that dopamine.
Yes. Well, it's also the yes, and it's also the primal because it's just something. Because we still have that. Okay, this is maybe too much to go into right here at the end of the program, but it's like there's an evolutionary aspect to like we didn't have caloric surpluses back in the day. So when you saw something that looks like fruit, like something colorful like that, your brain. That's why they color M&Ms the way they do. That's why they color Skittles the way they do, because they.
But yet because
your brain
these colorings are
really bad.
Are cancerous. Like they are literally cancerous. It's cancer.
And then everybody's like, RFK is not like.
Also, did you see that James Charles like had a hit piece on RFK Jr. like when this whole like this hearing was happening? Like he was like he was attacking him for his voice, like his raspy voice. He's like, how many packs of cigarettes do you have to smoke a day to sound like that? I'm like, oh, like. The reaction online, my reaction to it was just like, oh my God, this guy, like James Charles, like who is taking your opinion? No, like
how is bro still around?
Who is taking your opinion? Like why? Who cares?
Because I thought that,
but also just to say like, yeah, he has a disorder, like. It's not.
Yeah, he has an actual medical condition. It's not cigarettes.
It's not cigarettes. He was a heroin addict. Let's be real here.
We could be real about that. He was a heroin addict.
He was a heroin addict,
but he's about to be the national health secretary unless Bernie Sanders blocks the vote because RFK Jr. supports that onesie. We'll put it up.
The onesie.
The onesie. the no vax, no problem onesie, and
you
also
support this onesie.
don't forget about the onesie that says unvaxxed, no vax, no problem.
Like he just grilled him on
He was
that,
like,
too. He was
Mr.
like,
Kennedy, do you support the onesie? Do you support the onesie? RFK's like, RFK's like, Mr. Sanders, I've been very clear about my feelings on the onesie. I have no power over that organization. I cannot go in there to change them from selling them. Mr. Kennedy, do you support the
just
onesie?
kept
Do
grilling.
you think that climate change is a hoax like President Trump?
Like, just like, okay, like,
But they're all the same.
Bernie
It's
had
like,
such potential. I loved Bernie, and then he just had to go and just like suck up to the establishment.
is that what is that how you perceive?
That's how I perceive it.
Okay.
Like he was pretty chill in the 90s, the early 2000s, and then he kind of like sucked up.
Yeah, well, they made the mistake. Well, they screwed him over twice.
I mean, he probably would have sucked up no matter what.
He should
let's
have
be
left.
real.
Is what he should have gone third party. Man, I get people again. People.
Oh yeah,
kinda
he
roll their
definitely
eyes
should
at
have.
that. But he had the largest, one of the largest grassroots movements in political history. He should have just left the Democratic Party. They screwed him over twice. That's when a lot of people lost respect for him. Was whenever he led his flock right back to the same people that screwed him over the last time.
Right. Like
So anyway.
the system that like he's constantly trying to push for change, but it's never happening, and he's like just becoming part of the system that doesn't change.
Now he does agree with, and that's true. He does agree on He does agree with RFK on some things. There is some overlap there where they agree, and I'm sure if RFK does get appointed, then you would hope that they would work on legislation that highlighted those areas of agreement that would hopefully be able to start to clean up some of that. Because again, like no one's, and this, thank God, like no one's really out there, as far as I can see, no one's really out there like discrediting that part of RFK's campaign. You know what I mean? Like people went after him for the vax stuff and the raw milk stuff and some of that stuff that's like kind of more out there. But when it came to getting the chemicals and stuff and the preservatives and the food dyes out of the food, I don't see nearly as many people going at him for that kind of stuff and challenging him on that. It seems like that's probably the part of his deal that has the most bipartisan support.
Yeah, definitely. It's definitely the dyes and the chemicals that are put in foods that alter, like, that can, like, trigger ADHD and children.
Yeah, and, like, all sorts of mental health problems and physical health problems.
Yeah, like, things that the science community has backed up for a while now. But yeah, when it comes to vaccines, I'm not an expert. I mean, I've been vaxxed to my knowledge.
Yeah, I've been vaxxed. I got all the vaxes. I got everything. I got the COVID vax.
Yeah, I
got all of them.
I got the one COVID vax. I was like, do I have to take 2 shots?
Oh, you?
And
you
Johnson
got
Johnson came out. I'm like, it's just a 1 shot? Hell yeah.
You got the one that was fucked.
Yeah, I got the fucked one. So that's probably.
I got the Moderna. I think I got the Moderna, if I remember correctly. I still have the. I'm gonna be. They'll call me.
I literally got it at work too. I worked at the time in high school. I worked at a grocery store and it had like a pharmacy in there. Literally just not on my break after I clocked out. I get paid to take the COVID shot.
Fire.
Hell yeah.
Paying you to get the.
No, but after it, because it was right before I was coming to school, and this is when they required. Right?
Yeah.
Which is, I don't know how I feel about that. Is
We
required to take the COVID shot to get in?
We did that whole bit. We did that whole bit a few years ago.
We did, but I know it's okay to revisit it, but like, oh, okay, like,
Sure.
man,
What else is there to discuss? We've done an hour.
we have done an hour.
We've done an hour. Is there anything else any other problems of the world we should address and solve?
I mean,
You know, it's
looking forward to like solving world peace and like everything
from this desk,
from here. Yes,
from the Oval Office.
from the Oval Office.
You know what I need? I'm missing the little red.
The
I'm
red
missing the
button.
Diet Coke button,
The
or the
Diet Coke button.
chocolate chip ice cream button.
Oh, I thought you were talking about the thermonuclear warhead button that
No.
Trump used to threaten Kim Jong-un with. He said mine's bigger.
And mine's. He goes, we have a red button. I said, no, I have a red button, and it's bigger and it's stronger, and it actually works. Little Rocket Man, Kim Jong-un.
Can we get Kim Jong-un and Donald Trump back together? Can we arrange that? Is there any way
could this show arrange that?
Is there any way? Yes, this show and maybe the help with the fine American people watching the show.
That watch
the millions of people that watch the show.
Would we have him just walk right in here? Because
I think we would have the setup of the couch this time.
The couch setup this time, sure.
We'll have the couch set up this time, kind of like a flagrant episode.
Oh yeah, like what Andy talked about, almost like the Tonight Show setup. Like I'd be there, they're here, kinda side by side.
It's like flagrant, just like you're just sitting on the couch.
We're
just having a couch conversation.
Me, Trump, and Kim Jong-un.
Yes.
We didn't even say this. Thank you to President Trump for letting us borrow his office.
To
record the show.
He gave us the pass.
He gave us the press passes. He is letting us record in his office. He's very generous with.
Very generous. I'm pretty sure he's in Florida today golfing.
He's at Mar-a-Lago.
Yeah.
Aren't you like? Let's be honest.
This is a very very sacred room.
Absolutely. Many war criminals have come in and out of this room.
Many.
And I think that's all we have time for today. Are we going to wrap?
Yeah, we can wrap.
Let's wrap. Thank you, everybody. This has been the first solo episode. We hope you enjoyed it. We will we'll have this out for you. And everyone stay safe out there. Goodbye, everybody.